Welcome to Cooperative Strategies Level 2 training video for the Demographics Department. Let's get started. Did you know that CS utilizes a custom enrollment projection software, STEP, developed in collaboration with The Ohio State University? STEP was developed based on industry best practices, as well as our experiences with school districts, and state and federal agencies. STEP provides a low, moderate, high, and recommended 10-year enrollment projection. The low, moderate, and high enrollment projections are determined based on a selected average or weighted average of survival ratios. The recommended enrollment projection is based on a detailed analysis of historical enrollment and resulting survival ratios with consideration of housing information. For example, has an increase in building permits resulted in an increase in survival ratios in recent years? And is housing development expected to continue over the next several years? Enrollment projections developed by CS utilizing the STEP software are based primarily on the cohort survival method, also known as a grade progression model. This methodology is a widely used enrollment projection model that is applied by many school districts and state and federal agencies to project K-12 enrollment. Direct inputs include historical enrollment and live birth data. The number of students moving from grade to grade, year to year, are analyzed. Survival ratios are calculated, and a projection ratio is determined. The projection ratio is used as a multiplier in determining future enrollment. Live birth data, by place of residence of the mother, is used to determine kindergarten enrollment. Babies born 5 years previous to the kindergarten class are compared in number, and a ratio can be developed to project future kindergarten enrollments. CS provides a low, moderate, high, and recommended enrollment projection. The low, moderate, and high enrollment projections are determined based on a selected average or weighted average of survival ratios. The recommended enrollment projection is based on a detailed analysis of historical enrollment and resulting survival ratios with consideration of housing information. For example, has an increase in building permits resulted in an increase in survival ratios in recent years? And is housing development expected to continue over the next several years? A district-wide enrollment projection provides the school district with the total number of students projected by grade, by year, for 10 years at the district-wide level. These enrollment projections are ideal for districts that do not have school boundaries, for example, one elementary, one middle, and one high school, prospective new clients offering an entry-level price point to all services that Cooperative Strategies offers, districts that want annual enrollment projections at a cost-effective price, districts that want an enrollment projection but recently completed a redistricting process and they do not have good student data to project enrollment by new boundaries. Enrollment projections by where students attend projects the total number of students by grade by year for 10 years in each school facility operated by the school district, regardless of where students live. A roll-up to the district-wide level by grade by year is also provided to school districts. These projections are useful for planning, budgeting, or staffing purposes based on the projected growth or decline in schools within the district. Open enrollment and/or transfers are accounted for in these enrollment projections. These enrollment projections are ideal for school districts that have multiple schools and want projections by school and districts planning school facilities but do not have student data to develop enrollment projections based on where students live. Enrollment projections by where students live projects the total number of students by grade by year for 10 years in each school boundary within the school district, regardless of where students attend school. A roll-up to the district-wide level by grade by year is also provided to school districts. Enrollment projections based on where students live are useful for planning, based on projected growth or decline in areas of a school district. The enrollment studied is not reflective of actual enrollment in a school. Open enrollment and transfers are not accounted for in these projections. These projections are ideal for school districts preparing for or recently completed redistricting growing districts, and districts planning school facilities. Many factors can influence student enrollment. Enrollment projections should be reviewed annually and updated as appropriate. As enrollment trends shift and actual live birth counts become available, enrollment projections should be updated. Student yields can be calculated by land use classification by calculating the total number of units divided by the total number of students living in those units. For example, if there are 200 single-family units in a school district with 100 students living in those single-family units, the single-family student yield would be 0.5 students per single-family unit. A subdivision yield analysis studies and calculates historical student yield by housing type. Subdivision yields can be determined by analyzing the housing data for the areas that make up a school district. By comparing housing types, locations, and densities of where students live, yield factors can be established for all geographies of a school district. These yield factors can be applied to planned or active subdivisions to determine the potential number of students a subdivision could produce. A student potential analysis studies and calculates historical student yield by housing type, age, and price point based on data availability. Once yield factors are calculated, the number of potential students from new housing can be estimated by multiplying the yield factor by the number of projected new housing units per year. The pattern of yield change over time is analyzed to incorporate observed fluctuations in new housing yields due to housing turnover, if the age of a home is available. This provides a district-wide estimate of students based on historical and anticipated rates of housing development, approximately 10 to 100 years into the future. A student potential analysis is useful when used in conjunction with an enrollment projection to plan new facilities or boundary changes based on potential growth from planned or active subdivisions in addition to vacant developable land. Question 1. Which housing study may account for housing turnover if data regarding the age of homes are available? Question 2. What are direct inputs in projecting student enrollment using the cohort survival method? Select all that apply. Question 3. Which enrollment projection study is ideal for districts trying to make staffing decisions? Question 4. Which enrollment projection study is ideal for districts reviewing school boundaries?